today's price is not today's price.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it, the one and only Gaius George. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, sir.
You killed it. I'm super excited to have you on the podcast. I've been looking forward to it. I appreciate you driving up from Dallas, so definitely big up for that.
Yeah.
Super excited, but maybe for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, yeah, my name is Gaius George, born on the island of St. Croix, United States Virgin Islands, raised in Houston, lived in Houston till I left for Norman, University of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And so, leaving Houston to go to Norman, I didn't know what it was going to be like. And then, when I got there, I fell in love. And, here I am still driving up 20 some odd years later to come hang out with my peoples and, do the podcasts and other things that, I enjoy doing here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And so, raised in Houston, graduated high school, ended up at OU after I earned my bachelor's.
Let's rewind it, though, because I don't know the story about you growing up and stuff. So tell me about H-Town. And, I knew you baller from the gate, right? Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that baller life, because I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah. So in Houston, we moved from the island when I was about 5 years old. Ainsworth, George, Ainsworth,
Shout
my
out.
brother.
Yeah.
Shout
my roommate
out,
used to be my roommate.
Oh, yeah? Where?
Yeah. We were in the apartments.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Got there about 5, me and my brother, lived there, went to elementary school and high school, ended up in high school, did a little bit of art in middle school, and then ended up at Reagan High School in the Heights.
So I don't know about the high schools in H-Town. Is that like a good school, a middle school? Like, where would you classify as far as like fanciness level, or
Not real fancy.
Not real fancy.
It was a magnet school. So definitely for gifted and talented students. Cool. I actually lived 2 hours away from that campus. Yeah. What? So I made a 2-hour commute every day for 4 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then if you add in any extracurricular, like, sports, like I did everything. I started off basketball, ended up doing track and then football. And so, 2-hour drive every day. And then if you had the extracurricular activities, you were there till late. And so, I wasn't one that was driving. So it was either counting on people to either get me back to the South Side or, getting my parents to come pick me up. So
that's a lot of dedication from your parents, right? So they're probably like committed to you getting a good education.
Yeah, definitely definitely that.
Amazing.
It was weird because I wanted to go to a different high school.
Really?
And so Lamar High School in Houston, Texas, and ended up getting on the waiting list. And so I was like, okay, let me just apply to Reagan, see what happens. Got in. I got there and loved it. Awesome. It was 99.9% Hispanic high school.
Really?
And
okay.
So so ever since then, cool. The Hispanics was my people.
Yeah.
And so, I got on the waiting list at Lamar, got to Reagan. I was like, you know what? I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
So I spent there 4 years going back and forth. It was a magnet school for computer technology.
Okay.
So I spent all 4 of my years programming, basically computer science.
Awesome.
And so that led me into getting to Oklahoma on an engineering scholarship.
Yeah.
And so, I totally enjoyed the high school years, and it set me up for, me getting to Oklahoma and where I am now.
Yeah, that's very cool. So part of the sort of mission behind me doing the podcast too is to give people their flowers, right? So I definitely want to give you a shout out because I don't know if you remember, but back in OU days, I was super broke. And you had like the crazy computer setup, right?
Okay.
So you put me onto a lot of music, and you remember you used to burn CDs and stuff like that. Like you introduced me to all that H-Town music,
Okay.
right? Some good R&B music, right? And when I was DJing the parties, like all those CDs came in clutch.
Okay.
So definitely appreciate all that music for sure.
That's crazy that comes up now, because you don't never realize how many people you touch till way down the road, and you are one added to the list of people that's like, yeah, man, we used to party at your crib and woo, and I'm looking at people like, I don't really know you, but sure, I hope you had a good time.
Well, even like the chopped and screwed stuff, right?
Okay.
So I grew up in OKC.
Yeah.
You blew my mind with the chopped and screwed, all that H-Town, right? You introduced me to all that stuff.
Man,
and then I got hooked, like still to this day, right?
And man, love that stuff right there. Love that stuff. There's just a different thing, different way that they're doing the music, and that's definitely unique to Houston, and I'm still listening to it to this day.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there's a few sort of artists that are still kind of repping Houston, right? I don't know what you think about like Mexican OT or somebody like that.
Yeah, actually, him and Paul Wall.
They got that new track,
that
right?
Johnny Dang. So I got that. I got that putting on repeat in my playlist.
I should have known. I should have known.
Definitely. So and them old school joints from when we was in college, like Slim Thug, Paul Wall, of course. They still repping H-Town, and they old.
Even like the R&B music, so like Faded Pictures, like all these like tracks you would kind of sprinkle into the CDs, man. Like to this day, like hooked on all that stuff.
Man, it's definitely love there. Definitely love there.
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, you were a MIS major at OU, right?
Well, started off computer science.
Okay.
And so, like I said, from high school, I programmed all the way through high school, all 4 years. Even competed and went to different places for competitions.
Really?
Programming, yeah.
I didn't know that.
And so we had a connect at Reagan, and one of my computer science teacher, no longer with us, RIP, but she had connections in Oklahoma at OU.
Okay.
And actually, Sergio Estrada graduated from my high school.
Oh yeah,
and he was already at OU, so that was already a plug. So it was easy in to get to the engineering program, and plus they were looking for minority engineers. Yeah, and so that definitely was a easy in for me. And so got to OU on that engineering scholarship. Did it for 3 years, and when I started, they was like, yeah, you're going to have to do Calc 4. And I was like...
You're like, no big deal?
No. Well, when I got there, and they was like, hey, you got to go to Calc 4. And I tested in pre-algebra.
Yeah. You're like, no?
No. I was like, I don't like math like that.
Right.
And definitely, as the years went by, I definitely knew that I ain't like math like that.
Yeah.
And so I started off engineering and computer science. Did that for 3 years. They were like, either you bring your programming in working or you don't bring it in at all. And so I was more of a more personable guy and like to hang out with my peoples and, kick it and play pool at the bottom of Walker.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. and so 3 years into it, I changed my major. And so I changed it to MIS, and MIS definitely gave me the programming that I loved still, but I didn't have to do all the math. Yeah. And plus then I can get the business aspect of business.
I was going to say, so when I think of you, I also think like entrepreneur, right? Like since I've met you, you're not afraid to try new things and to dive into things. And we were talking off camera, when you go into something, you go in. Like if you're going to do it, you're going to do it, right?
So I got to be at least close to pro level at it. Otherwise, I'm not going to pick it up.
Yeah. I was reading your list. So, man, of course, you're working at TCU, but then also videography, photography, woodworking, and I didn't even know about the steel drumming. Yeah. So maybe tell me a little bit about the steel drumming.
Yeah. So last year in high school, one of the last years in high school, myself and a good number of my cousins, probably all of my cousins that lived in Houston. We found this a person that had a steel drum band, and we all joined the band that summer.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
so, yeah, it was we called ourselves the Houston Steel Light Orchestra.
Nice.
And there are pictures and videos of us out there. I know there's at least one picture through the U of H library.
Yeah. You're going to have to send it to me so I can put it in the description. That's going to be awesome.
I'll definitely do that. But there are pictures and videos out there. And so we met this guy, and, he taught us everything that we needed to know to play the steel drums. And so we did that for a summer or two, and did performances, Channel 8, which was our public access television.
Okay.
We did mall appearances and things like that, just
Awesome.
to expose Houston to
Yeah.
steel drums.
Any like private events or weddings or anything like
You
that?
know what? It's been a while, and I couldn't tell you if we did. I'm sure we did, because we were all over the place.
That's awesome.
And so did that for a summer or two, me and my cousins, and it's been on my mind ever since. We stopped.
Yeah.
But it's just tough to find someone to build you a drum to play. If I really wanted a drum, I could probably get one from Trinidad. But
I mean, I was going to say, you're basically like the spokesperson for the Virgin Islands. So I would have expected you to have one already, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's what you would think, but it's a little bit more difficult than that. It's a little bit more difficult than that. So as soon as I can find someone local that can get me what I need, I'm definitely interested in probably purchasing a drum and getting back into it.
Got it. So you can't just like walk into a Guitar Center and find one. No. You have to like
they have to beat it out of a 55-gallon oil drum.
Wow.
And it depends on the drum that you're playing.
Yeah.
Depending on how they have to beat it out.
Okay.
So it's definitely a specialty that you probably wouldn't be able to find here stateside.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool. So where did your love for music develop? Because like ever since I've known you too, you've been to music like heavy, right? Like even like I would say you probably DJ'd some parties at some times, right?
At the crib.
Yeah.
If you call the crib parties,
for sure.
DJing, we had our little computer in the corner with all the music on it, and I actually still got a lot of that music that was up there. 816.
Awesome.
And so, but I say my love for music probably started, at the church choir.
Okay.
And so that's something that again, me and my cousins did at our local church. We sang in the choir, and we were there every week, practicing and getting ready for Sunday service. So that's definitely where the love for the music started.
That's cool. I also like that you're always repping, right, for the Virgin Islands. That's cool that you've maintained the ties. You go all the time too, right? So
I try to make it as often as I can. It's been a while since I've been
bring
back.
people too, right?
No, and it's funny that you say that, because my brother got married down there, a little while back, and previous to me getting back, that was the first time that I hadn't gotten back to the island since '90, and so he got married, and so I was like, I've been to Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, I've been to all of these other places. Like, why can't I come back home regularly?
Yeah.
So after he got married, we went down there for his wedding, and then like for 3 or 4 consecutive years after that, I went down there. Awesome. And then I took everybody. If you wanted to go, I set it up.
You're the spokesperson.
Yeah, I got us the place to stay. You pay. You put in on a place to stay. You buy your plane ticket, get there, and we'll kick it for a week.
That's cool. That's cool. What would you say is kind of like the most memorable thing about just being there? What do you enjoy the most?
The people.
People.
Getting there, going around town, talking to the people. That's probably definitely the most memorable. Getting to know my people. Yeah. And so
that's cool.
Yeah.
We were also talking you did the intro to the podcast because you have a new venture, which is voiceover artists, right? Because you're not busy enough with the gardening, woodworking, everything else, photography. You're like, I'm going to do voiceovers, right?
Yeah. Well,
tell me about that.
and so it's something that I always well, as you can see and you can hear my voice.
Yeah. I'm about to get kicked off my own podcast here. It's like, all right, this is a Gaius podcast now.
Right. And so, the voice has lent to me the ability to jump into this voiceover venture. And, and it all started when, I started hearing from a lot of people about, hey, you got a sexy voice.
Oh,
you got a radio
really?
voice.
Let's tell me a little bit about that. Just like random ladies, at the gas station or something. Hey, who's that on pump number 2?
So two stories about the voiceover. So, I bought my first home in 2018, September 2018, and my mortgage lady, we was just getting introduced. We had a conversation on the phone about, hey, this is my first home. Like, what do I need to do? So she ended up being my, my mortgage lady. But after the first call, she sent me a text message. The text message said, "Lord have mercy.
What?
You have the sexiest voice, Gaius."
Yeah.
And so that was one of the first, first times I was like, okay, that voice is probably something I need to, look into. Yeah. And then more recently, I was at, we went to, myself and my girlfriend at the time, Natasha, we went to HEB. HEB, the Texas staple, the best grocery store on earth.
Yeah, everybody loves it. Everybody's like HEB repping all the time. Yeah.
So we went to HEB to just do a little shopping, and toward the end of the shopping excursion, we ended up in the cashier line.
Yeah.
And so it's me and Tasha in the line, and the cashier lady is talking to me, basically macking on me like, yo, you got a sexy
in front of your girl?
Yeah, in front of my girl. And there's a guy behind us, and he's standing there looking like, yo, what's going on? And so she's trying to pick what voice my sounds like. And I knew exactly what she was thinking, Barry White.
Yeah.
Easy.
So she was just like trying to make conversation to get you to talk more?
And it was a conversation. Actually, it seemed like a pretty long conversation. Maybe Natasha may be able to confirm or deny.
You got like 20 people in the line waiting.
The guy behind us was like,
what's going
on right now? Yeah. And so, she's basically trying to pick out what my voice sounds like. And so at that point in time, I was like, okay, then, I definitely got to try to do something with this voice, especially if I'm getting more than multiple people saying, hey, you got a nice voice, whatever.
Did your girl think it was as cute as what you're saying right now?
I'm sure she did. She hasn't vocalized it, but I'm sure she did.
So she wasn't trying to fight with the cashier?
No, not at all. She was just there standing like, she was probably more annoyed than anything. Like, hey, let's get our groceries and get up out of here. But I'm the type of guy to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And so, I gave her the time, and, I continued to talk to her. And I swear the guy in the back was like, oh, you know what's going on right now. What is happening right now?
Yeah.
And so, that from that point, it's something that's been always on my mind. And, just recently I was like, let me go ahead and, put this into action.
I'm surprised it took this long, because anybody, like, as soon as they hear your voice, they're like, they recognize you, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't be mistaken with anybody else.
True. And there's a lot of other things that, that I could do that I've been doing.
Yeah.
And so this was the opportunity to go ahead and do it. So, I just jumped out and put my voice to some things. And then, I built a website, a portfolio website.
Yeah.
GaiusVoiceArt.com.
Check it out. Link in the description.
Link in the description, definitely.
Yeah.
And so, I just put my voice to a lot of stuff, mainly a lot of travel stuff.
Okay.
A lot of Caribbean voiceovers. And so, and it just jumped off from there. I put some of my stuff out there for, ACX, which is the audio exchange for Amazon.
So tell me about that, because I'm not familiar with how that process works, right? Because we're talking a little bit, and it sounds like you're already up and going. Tell me
so
how.
it's not that difficult of a process. So, you sign yourself up on ACX.com, which is basically their audio exchange site.
SEX?
ACX. Oh, boy,
like,
you better stop.
SEX?
Yeah, right.
About to get you in trouble with your girl.
Right. And so you sign yourself up, and you put how you want to get paid. You could either get, royalty share, or you can do per hour type situation.
Yeah.
And then you put samples of your work out there.
Okay. So this is like for Audible or something like that?
Basically, Amazon's audiobook situation.
Okay.
And so put those samples out there. You can actively go out and search books that you may be interested in to want to put your voice to, or with your samples, authors of books can, search their database and say, hey, I think your voice will be good for my book, which
awesome.
That's definitely one that I have coming up. He actually approached me on the book. And
that's cool. Tell me about that. When is it coming out? What's the name of the book?
Yeah. So the name of the book is Rico, Volume 1, and it's written by Corey Bryant. You can definitely find that on Amazon. And so it's just basically, a guy gets out of jail. He wants to start back up his, he goes to jail for RICO charges. He gets out and he wants to start back up his empire. And so it's just a story about him, getting back into it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you're on your way already.
I'm on my way. Yeah. Hopefully this can jumpstart me. The book will be out. Well, it's due July 31st.
Okay.
And so I don't know when exactly he will release it. I don't know if it's immediate release. But the share that I have to do is will be done July 31st.
Is it a lot of work? Are you doing like a whole chapter at a time, or how do you get to splice it up? Because when I think book, I think hours at least, right? To do all that, right?
It's basically broken down into chapters. So you got the prologue, the intro, then each chapter. Mm-hmm. And so you read a chapter and then you upload it by chapter. So basically the way that you would listen to an audio book online through chapters.
Okay. And it gets approved by chapter, or it gets approved as a whole project at the end?
So what it is you give a 15-minute checkpoint. So you read 15 minutes into the book, and then you send it to the author, and he approves or disapproves it, or tells you what you can change or what you need to do there. Okay. And from that point, you just read the book and you upload it chapter by chapter. And luckily, when I submitted my 15-minute checkpoint, the author was good.
Awesome.
I think the voice is really what you need, what he really wanted on the book.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
What kind of setup do you have? Do you have a crazy setup to do all this, or
no? Not really. No, I'm recording with a blue mic. I can't, I can't do big things like your Shure mic, but I will be upgrading soon. Believe that.
These are legit.
Yeah. I will be upgrading soon. But mine is a simple setup. Is a blue USB microphone.
Okay.
I read everything through the Creative Suite's. What is it? Audition.
Yeah.
And so I do everything through Audition.
Cool. Their stuff is getting crazy with AI, and you can take basically a phone recording and make it sound like a Shure. It's crazy what they're doing.
It's kind of scary, actually, to tell you the truth.
That's very cool that you're doing that. I mean, I'm surprised that it took that long, but that's cool. And of course, you did all the branding, you did the website. I'm sure you did the whole thing, right?
Yeah. So I had to do the website in order for me to be able to put all the stuff that I've read out there. So that's basically a portfolio website, just so people can get there and see what I've done. And,
awesome.
I've tried to do some original works. I got one original work that I did about St. Croix, and so that's the one original work. Everything else that I put together, just spliced together from the internet and whatnot.
Cool. Are you on TikTok? You need to get on TikTok.
I am on TikTok. Yeah. I haven't made any videos, but I'm there. It's definitely a time waster.
It is. Yeah, it's like a crazy rabbit hole, right? Because that algorithm is super good. It figures you out quick.
Listen, I can burn 2 hours in 20 minutes.
Oh, easy. Yeah. You definitely. I think you should get on TikTok, do some of the voiceover stuff on there.
That's a good idea that you. That's a good point that you make there.
Yeah.
Okay,
that'd be really cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna think about that. I'm gonna do that.
Cool. Yeah. So voiceover, but you also have your day job, which I don't even know what all you do. So tell me what you do there, because you did MIS, but I don't think it's related to MIS, right?
Not at all.
So how did you end up there? Tell me what you do.
Yeah. So earned my bachelor's in information systems, went directly into my master's in human relations at OU.
Okay.
There wasn't really any jobs out there, and so I had a friend, James Parker. You might remember James Parker.
I remember him. Yeah. Shout out.
So shout out James Parker, JP Diddy. So he left OU and went to TCU.
Okay.
And this was he left OU probably at the end of my bachelor's, so probably 2 years.
Got it. So you never did like a MIS internship or anything like that to even test the waters to see if you like it?
Not at all. He left OU, ended up at TCU, and at the time he was the director for fraternity and sorority life at TCU. And I graduated with my human relations degree, and I was looking for work.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because he called me the day that I was driving from Norman to Houston for a job interview with a headhunter.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he called me. I didn't catch the call on the first. I didn't catch the call on the first one, and ended up calling him after I arrived home in Houston. And he was like, "Hey, we talked. We talked since it had been like 2 years since I ain't talked to him. Like literally about 2 years since he had left Oklahoma. I hadn't talked to him.
Yeah.
And it was crazy that he was calling me.
Just out of the blue.
Out of the blue, like 2 years.
So
I hadn't talked to him in 2 years.
He didn't know you were looking for a job. He didn't know you were human relations. He didn't know any of that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And so he called me and was like, "Hey, I got a job." And I was like, "Okay, but James, I'm in Houston right now for a job interview." And so he was like, "Nah, that's cool. Don't worry about it." And so he was like, "Go to your job interview. After you get done with the job interview, call me back and I'll let you know the specifics of, this job here at TCU."
Yeah, cool.
And so went to the job interview. Everything was great. It was going to be a little bit more involved than I needed to be. I couldn't afford to go back and forth from Houston to Norman and back and forth to interview with more folks.
Yeah.
And so I called him afterwards and I told him that. I'm like, "Listen, it was great, but it's a little bit more involved." So then he told me about the job, basically a hall director job in the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life at TCU.
Cool.
I'd be living on campus.
Yeah.
No rent, no bills. And at the time when you have no work,
you're like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
right?
it's more than amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, "You know what, James? I'll be there yesterday." And so, we set up the whole interview process and got to campus. It was about a day and a half interview. And, I interviewed with all the appropriate folks on TCU's campus. And at the end of the job interview, they offered me the job on the spot.
On the spot. They just loved you that much.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
On the spot. I mean, I'm sure
Has to be the voice.
Maybe. And so offered me the job, and he actually told me, "This is what they're going to offer you. This is how much we have in the budget. You should ask for this."
There we go.
And so it was a great setup, and 17 years later, I'm still in it.
Really?
Yeah, I'll be starting year 18 in August.
Same position, or you're doing something different now? Or
doing something different now. So I was a hall director on TCU's campus for 12 of the 17 years.
Okay.
In 2018, the job changed, and so now I'm the coordinator for leadership and development.
Cool.
For the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life, and I'm tasked with all the leadership and development opportunities for the entire community.
That's
and
awesome.
So it has changed a little bit, and but I'm still in the same office that I started.
That's very cool, and I bet it keeps you young, being around so many students and stuff,
Definitely,
right?
definitely,
yeah, that's very
definitely keeps you young. I mean, younger than some of the folks my age that's not around.
You're like hip with the music, hip with the lingo, everything, right?
Yes, definitely that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. I never knew what you did, but now that you're describing that role, that sounds like right up your alley.
Yeah,
right?
and it's crazy you say that, because I feel like James at the time, when he was at OU, he probably seen it in me. He's seen something in me.
Definitely.
As far as student affairs and working with students that I didn't see in myself. So probably that's why I got the call.
And even diversity enrichment, you remember that?
Yeah.
We did that for a little bit, right? So that was fun. I had fun doing that.
Yeah, that was good times. That was very good times.
That was cool. Just getting go back to high schools and
recruit for the university.
Where I grew up, there was no blueprint. That's what I always talk about on the podcast too. Is I wish I would have had somebody there that I could identify with you. Luckily, I met you guys, right? You from Texas, and that's where I built a lot of friendships out of it. Right?
Yeah, and I think it's probably still something that's missing in the high schools.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Well, congratulations. I mean, it sounds like you're the perfect fit for sure. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about photography. So that's another thing you've gone all in, right? So you've got the crazy camera setup, all the lenses. How did you even develop that love for photography?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it started in middle school. Artist by trade. So in middle school, I started doing painting, sketching, oil painting, watercolors, and stuff like that. So, it's just another art form that interests me.
Yeah.
But at the time, middle school and high school, you can't really afford those equipment.
Yeah, it gets expensive real fast, especially the lenses. The lenses are more expensive than the actual camera body, right?
Yeah. Depending on what kind of glass you get, definitely more expensive. So, couldn't afford equipment, as a high school student. And, when I got a little older and, I got to a spot where, I wasn't paying rent or bills.
Yeah.
That's the kind of expensive habits that I developed.
And once again, you go all in.
And I go all in. And
so you're a Nikon guy, right? Or no?
Well, actually, I started off Pentax.
Really?
So I learned on Pentax and then went straight to Canon. But I'm at the point now where I could pick up just about any camera, and you give me the manual, I read it for 10, 15 minutes, and I'm ready to go. So
awesome.
But I'm probably more Canon guy than anything else. I recently got into Sony, so I got a Sony full frame.
Nice.
So I'm not as proficient as I am with Canon. But I'm trying.
I feel like Canon's been slacking, if I'm being honest. I mean, Sony with the mirrorless, especially on the video side of things. I know everybody talks about the Canon color, but Canon, I don't know.
Everybody got their thing though.
Yeah.
I can't say that.
You're still loyal to Canon.
Nah, not really. I can't say that because I went and got a Sony.
True.
And so I went and got a Sony just to try it out. And it was affordable actually too. So that's definitely why I did it. And so I feel like everybody got their niche, but I feel like everybody are doing just about the same thing. It's all technology, and once one is doing it, the other is going to pick it up.
Yeah. And then just videography, just a natural progression, or what happened?
I mean, you had the equipment, so why not try it out? And so I've done a shooting. I've done actually footage for one of my guys' music videos. This was a while back.
Oh, really?
Okay. So
Tell
there
me
is a
about
music.
that. So you're actually doing some professional work and stuff. That's pretty cool.
I don't know about professional.
If I know you, the quality is going to be there. So I'm going to say
actually, you know what? I was looking back at it. I was like, man, this is not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah. So I need to hone my skills in the videography a little bit. But he's a musician, and he was always making music, and the music that he made, he wanted to put video to, and I had the equipment, and I was like, hey, I'll shoot the videos for you if you want. Nice. And so there's definitely a music video with about 80% of my footage out there.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's very cool. Yeah. Just another thing to your resume, right?
Thing to the resume.
That's cool. So let's talk about music, right? What are you listening to now? Because I know you said you still listen to the H-Town stuff for sure. It's Chopped and Screwed, right? But what are you listening to now, like newer stuff?
Newer stuff. I give everything a chance. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So a little Moneybag Yo. A little, Finesse 2 Times. I like that guy for some reason. Mm-hmm. I don't know about these young cats. I'm still H-Town, new H-Town. I'll always give a shake to. So Sauce Walker and some of those guys out of H-Town.
Okay.
And then I'm definitely into the reggae and dance hall. So Bob's Cartel and Conscience and some of those guys. And so my playlist is a little bit of everything, a little bit R&B, hip hop.
Am I gonna find some banda?
No.
No? You're like, that's Saul's bag.
Actually, that definitely is Saul's bad banda's way. That's definitely Saul, but I do have some Bad Bunny in my playlist.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're liking the Bad Bunny stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And him and Anuel, AA.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You like that?
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll jam those guys too.
What about the country stuff? Being a Texas boy, I would imagine. No, I'm getting some looks already. So maybe not.
My fiance likes it, so I listen to it when she's playing it.
Yeah.
My dad loves it too. That was actually
okay.
He actually has country vinyl at the house.
Awesome. That's
cool.
And
so I won't turn it off.
Yeah.
It's playing, I won't turn it off. There's some new people out there that I definitely will listen to if they're playing.
What's like the last concert that you went to?
Ooh, last concert, probably Dave Matthews and that's.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Is that your girl or is that you?
No, that's one of my homies in Dallas,
Okay.
Monty Ra. He always when Dave is in the mix.
Yeah.
And he has extra tickets. He's definitely gonna call me and be like, "Hey, you want to go to the Dave concert?" So I've been to probably a couple, at least two Dave concerts.
A lot of people always kind of say that they're kind of overrated, that all the songs kind of sound the same and they're stuck in that sound. But I think they're super talented.
Yeah, I mean, everybody got their talent, and they're going to reach out to the people that love them.
Yeah.
And so, you might not feel like, it all sounds the same, but there's somebody out there that's like, I don't care. I'm going to listen to it anyway.
Yep, that's true. So,
yeah.
That's cool. So besides that, you're also big into cooking, right? And then when I say cooking, I mean cooking, like the presentation and everything. Like, once again, you go all in. So how did you develop that? How did you even get good at that? Because I definitely don't have that skill.
Yeah. So the summer before I left for college, Mom was like, "Hey, this summer you're gonna cook all the meals."
Really?
Because you can't count on a lady.
She was like prepping you.
Yeah. She's like, you can't count on a lady to know how to cook. So you're gonna cook all the meals, and you're gonna know how to do it, so that when you're on your own, you can do it. So that's where it started. And so, she turned me on. I picked it up, and
shout out to Mom
Dukes. And so, I picked it up, and you've seen what I've done.
The presentation and everything, and then you're like the crazy amount of time, like you're smoking meat and everything. Like
I enjoy it. It's
crazy.
It's calming for me.
Yeah,
and definitely after days full of work, being able to make your own meals and make it the way you want to and have it look the way you want it to, and definitely fulfilling.
You're like, there's no need to go eat out. Like, I can make better steak at home, right?
And it's crazy that you say that, because I don't. And I told my mom this recently when she came up and I cooked for her, and I don't ever remember us in high school, middle school, ever going out outside of the buffet, like the Golden Corral on Sunday after church, or the Captain D's endless fish after Wednesday night prayer. And so I told her I don't ever remember us ever going out to eat in a restaurant, like a sit down type, order your meal, wait for it type situation, because for her it was like she'll look at the meal and she's like, I can make this better. And so and it wasn't no shot to her, but I understand where she was coming from. It's like, why go out there and let somebody else do it when you probably put more effort into it and do it better.
Definitely. So if you're trying to impress, what's like your go-to dish that you're gonna roll out the red carpet? What is it?
Go-to?
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be some type of Caribbean cuisine. I like a lot of goat water, so goat stew basically. So I'm either doing like a goat stew, or if we're doing American, them baby back ribs, cooking a steak. A steak is always a
go-to. Yeah. What would you say is some advice for the viewers out there that are kind of afraid to try new things? Because I see you trying new things left and right. So what kind of advice would you give people out there?
I say, don't be scared. You can try it once, try it twice. Yeah. If you don't like it, you can always do something else. So don't be afraid to try new things. You don't really grow unless you're outside of your comfort zone. This is uncomfortable to you. That's when you grow, is when it's uncomfortable. So go out there and try it. Like I said, you can do it once, you can do it twice, and you can be like, I'm done with it.
And that's always been your mindset from the get, like even as a kid. Yeah. Were you always outgoing, or were you a bit introvert back as a kid, or no?
No, I don't think I've ever been an introvert. No. Yeah. I'm always outgoing, and even to this day, my fiance will say, "Hey, you could talk to anybody."
Yeah,
she's more introvert. She's more introvert than I am, and so like you can talk to anybody and have a good time. And so yeah, no, I was never introvert. I was always trying to talk to people.
That's cool. Yeah. So knowing that, like, what are your goals that you've set out for this year? I'm sure your list is probably pretty ambitious. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, one of the goals that I wanted to do is, get one of my side hustles or one of my side business off the ground, and I did that with the voiceover.
Yeah.
And so, there's probably some more things, I need to jump back into photography because I haven't been doing it as much as I should be, to be a semi-pro, if you'll say.
Yeah.
And so I got the voiceovers off the ground. I think for that now is trying to put my voice out there as often as I can.
Are sites like Fiverr or anything like that, are those worth pursuing, or is it more Amazon, Audible? Is that the direction that most people go?
I think it depends on what you want to do.
Okay.
If you want to go out there and freelance, Fiverr is definitely a place and a medium for those people. I think, messing with Fiverr, I think it's more a little easier for probably like web designers and graphic designers, logo designers to get work than, somebody doing voiceovers. And so I think the ACX, the Audible exchange is definitely easier for those voiceover type situations. But Fiverr is definitely a place that I'm on both of them actually. So I'm on Fiverr and I'm on ACX. And so I feel like ACX is a little easier to navigate the voiceover scene than Fiverr. But I've put a little bit more effort in ACX too. So that could be it too.
Cool. I wonder how you tap into the movie industry, right? Because I could definitely hear you doing like a movie trailer or something like that.
Yeah. I think I might need some representation actually. Yeah, somebody to go out there and look for the stuff. I mean,
yeah, that'd be cool. I could definitely see you doing like a movie trailer. Yeah, for sure.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you're ready.
Yeah, if you're gonna represent me, let's do it.
Let's do it, right? Like, you willing to come down? I feel like we've got a co-host right here. Like,
let me know, man. Let me know. Let me know. Yeah. We can do it. Yeah, I'm listen. I always tell even the students that I work with, don't ever pass up opportunities or experience that's going to make you better as an individual. Like, you can take an experience and say, hey, I didn't like this. Yeah. But don't pass up the experience, because then you can say, I've done it at least once. And so I'll take every opportunity, every experience, and experience it once. And if I like it, I'll keep doing it. If not, then we'll move on.
Have you ever been intimidated though? Like, you're trying something new and you're like, maybe I'm not good enough to be here. You never second doubt yourself?
No, not really, because like I said, I'm not jumping into it unless I know I'm going to probably be somewhat good at it. Okay. And so I feel like for those individuals that jump into it and don't feel like they might be good at it, that's when they're like, am I in the right space, or whatever the case may be. So no, I don't know that. I can't say that I've ever doubted myself.
Got it. Okay.
Good with you.
That's awesome. Yeah. How does it feel to be at TCU, but you graduated at OU? Are you sort of like conflicted when they play each other, especially football? Yeah. And they've gotten really good over the years. Like, before, they weren't as good, but now it's like TCU, you got to take them serious.
Yeah, not conflicted at all. Yeah. No. And so, and it's funny that you asked that question, because I always try to equate it for them so they understand. Yeah. You're from TCU, you graduated, you got 2 degrees from TCU, but now you're working at SMU. And so everybody, when you let them know you're always going to have love for your alma mater, right? They definitely understand it.
But you're repping the crimson on campus?
No, I'm not that disrespectful.
I was going to say,
so I'll wear the purple. I'll wear the purple that's bought for me. Yeah. I don't know that I can say that I've bought purple. I might, in 17 years, probably 1 or 2 pieces of purple. But most of the purple that I've bought, that I have, was bought for me. And so I'm not disrespectful to wear Oklahoma colors on TCU's campus, except if we're playing at TCU. Oh, really? And then it's no holds barred. Like, you can't tell me that I wear purple 24/7 and then, on my time, I can't wear my crimson. No, nice. No.
And you sit on the TCU side?
No. I'm on the Oklahoma side. Okay. Yeah, I'm on the Oklahoma side.
So you're repping.
Yeah, no, I'm repping Oklahoma. Cool. But again, like, I'm not disrespectful with it. Like, I know where the paycheck comes from. So
for sure. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
So the other thing that comes to mind when I think about you is OD Phi, right? Like Omega Delta Phi. How did you meet those guys? What made you sort of pledge? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, like I said, 99.9% Hispanic high school. So my love for the Hispanic people is up there.
Right.
And so naturally, when I got to Oklahoma, it was like, HASA, Hispanic American Student Association, Pan American Student Association. So
yeah, I remember you were like in the parties, Pan Am parties, dancing up the salsa, merengue.
Man, that's my stuff right there, man. That's
You
my
weren't
stuff.
messing
I
around.
love it. I love it. So naturally, when OD5 was starting up, they were starting up at the time, you know, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give it a chance. You know, you're my peoples, and so.
Did you know any of those guys, or you just kind of?
Yeah, Sergio was a part. You know, he was a part of it. Hector, of course, he pledged us.
You guys didn't know each other, like UNH didn't know each other.
No, we came to school. We left Reagan High School together.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We left Reagan High School. He was my best friend in Houston and Reagan.
I didn't know that.
And we both left Reagan to go to school at OU.
Okay.
And we actually roomed together freshman year in Walker,
That's
1136 West. Shout out.
That's awesome. I didn't know you guys were like back since high school. I thought you guys met on campus.
Yeah, no.
That's cool.
So Hector, Sergio I knew of. He had already graduated by the time, you know, I had got there.
Yeah.
And so there was a couple of guys from, Reagan High School that we knew that was at OU.
Okay.
And so those guys I know, man, as soon as I came to campus, you know, Sergio, Paul Rocha, and some of those other guys were definitely, you know, they put us down. They actually held us under their wing. And so it was an easy transition, I feel like, from Houston to Oklahoma. And so
I feel like you guys were rolling deep, like compared to OKC, like Hispanics, you guys were rolling deep. For sure.
From H-Town, man, because they like Sydney Jones, like, you know, she was from Houston, so, you know, she was trying to get her people from Houston to Oklahoma, so that was like a natural fit. And it's funny you say that because there's a lot of people that I met at Oklahoma from Houston that I didn't know in Houston. Yeah. And so it was crazy how it worked out. But yeah, going back to OD5, you know, all the guys I knew, they wanted to start up, you know, the organization, and so, you know, I was down. You know, I waited a little longer than Sergio and Hector and some of them, just to see if they had their stuff in order. But you know, beta class, and I was ready to go.
Awesome.
And so yeah, that's definitely something that I love, and you know. Looking back at it, I wouldn't change it. I'd probably do the same way, actually.
Yeah. Everybody always says that high school are the best years of your life, but I kind of feel like OU was like the best years.
It definitely has to be the college years because, you know, some of those folks that I'm trying to think, okay. I got one friend, Melanie Rodriguez from Houston. She's one that she went to middle school with me, and we went to the same high school. And so that's probably one of my oldest friends as far as like middle school and high school. But everybody else that I still talk to this day are my college friends.
Yeah, that's cool. And you guys definitely like see each other all the time, stay in touch, right?
Regularly.
I don't think that you lost that connection with everybody. That's really cool.
Not at all. Not at all. You're gonna make time for the people that you want to make time for.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah. Would you say that you ever had any regrets? Like maybe I should have tried the MIS thing? Because I mean, it sounds like you had a love for programming. You built PCs too, right? So you like enjoyed all that, right? Like big nerd stuff, right?
Big nerd stuff. And you know, that was something that, you know, the PC situation was something that started in high school.
Yeah.
You know, I had a PC, the green and black screen. It wasn't even color. Orange and black screen.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Okay.
And so that started back then, but then I was into it. And so all the PCs that I have at home is either I put together or something of the sort.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that that I definitely loved.
So never any doubts like, hey, maybe I should have pursued something in the IT industry or anything like that.
Nah, not really, because then if I doubted it, it wouldn't put me where I'm at today.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know that I think like that to doubt some of the things that I've done in the past to say, maybe I should have tried this. Okay, I'll take that back. Maybe if I pursued the IT, I'd be getting paid more than I'm getting paid now.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I picked it. Like, because I was, super broke. I was like, what's going to be the easiest career? Well, not necessarily easiest, but the fastest, right? Like if you do a doctor or something, that's several years of college and having to pay for that. It's crazy, right? So I was like, what's going to have like the biggest career growth? and highest paying jobs. And that's where I landed on
well, and
IT,
you know what? At the time, I couldn't think like that.
Yeah.
I just needed to work.
Yeah.
And, you know, it wasn't IT. IT didn't want me. And at that time, IT was a little tougher than it probably is now. I couldn't speak on it. I definitely, with 17 years experience in IT, definitely would be getting paid more than I'm getting paid now. But then if I did that, then there might not be no photography. There might not be no voiceovers. Sure. There might not be no a lot of other stuff because, you know, I would have been in that. So that's definitely, like I said, when you doubt yourself, then there's going to be spaces where that might not have developed you into the person that you are right now.
Yeah. But as a kid, it sounds like you were always into the creative arts, music, right? Yeah, so definitely. As a kid, if I would have ran into you and I would say, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? What would have been the answer?
Probably an artist.
Artist?
Yeah.
Like musician, or what are we talking about?
Painting,
Painting?
drawing, sketching.
Okay.
And so that's what I was heavy into in my middle school, going into high school. And so probably would have been art.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing that now more minorities are represented in higher ed? Because I feel like it's gotten better over the years, but you definitely have, you know, your eye on the pulse there. So tell me, what is it like now?
Better than it was.
Yeah.
But still lacking. I just don't know that our people are, you know, speaking about college like, you know, some other folks are.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that high school is preparing, you know, our people for life after high school. And so definitely better than it was, but still got a lot of strides to go. And again, it all depends on the school that you go to.
Okay.
And so you go to a Hispanic serving institution, you're going to see more Hispanics because they choose to go there. You go to a HBCU, you're going to see more black folks. And so I think it depends on the space that you choose to exist in.
Yeah. Did you ever apply to UT or anybody else, or is it just like OU? That was it.
It was OU, and that was it. I didn't even apply to the hometown U of H.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just OU, and if I didn't get in, then maybe I ended up at H-Town, U of H. But that wasn't the case, and so yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing that came to mind that I always think about is the little car they used to have at OU that had like the coldest AC. Do you remember that car?
Yeah.
I don't remember what model it was, but it's like this little
323.
Okay, I
Stick
remember
shift.
It was like super cold, like AC. I remember you used to like drive that around at OU.
Yeah, my uncle was he was an AC tech. So
oh, really?
It always.
Okay. Yeah,
always was blowing snow.
I remember that. Yeah, you get in that thing. You need a jacket in that thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
lots of good memories, man.
Definitely that.
That's
definitely.
cool.
Wouldn't change it, man. Wouldn't change it at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you think you want to experiment with anything else, or you kind of locked and loaded with the voiceover, and that's what you're gonna do?
Ooh, that's a good question. No, I think I'm locked in on the voiceover right now.
Okay.
So voiceover in photography. I can't say that there's anything at this point in time that I'm thinking about jumping into yet.
Yeah.
Yet,
I always struggle with that.
Yeah.
You know, I have so many like projects and ideas that I just want to do everything, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes people say like you need to focus, you need to go all in, but I don't know if I believe that because I like being creative in different forms, different ways, DJing, the podcast. Like I always got something going on.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because my dad always used to say this too. He's like, a jack of all trades is a master of none.
Exactly.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And so
I
can say that I probably mastered at least a couple things.
For sure.
And so but again, for me, like I'm not gonna pass up any opportunity or experience to do anything. I'm not going to pick it up unless I'm going to be good at it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things I always ask the guests is to tell me something about you that most people don't know. So I'm going to put you on the spot to share something that most people out there do not know about you.
Middle school, I was a gymnast.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Can you even imagine this big body? This big body as a gymnast?
How did that start? Like, how did you get into that?
Probably thrown into it.
Yeah.
Middle school.
Like your parents were telling you to do that? Or
no, parents didn't have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It was just something that like, hey, gymnastics. All right, cool. Let's go try it out. And so, yeah, I picked it up. So in middle school, I did gymnastics for a hot while.
Nice.
A little while till I had a bad spill on the horse.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, you know
You're
what?
like, no, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And so that's probably something that a lot of people probably don't know about me.
Yeah. Any pictures out there?
No.
I'm trying to picture you in the, what is it called? Is it the leotard? Yeah.
Nah,
no?
we wasn't getting down like that. Yeah. So thankfully no pictures.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we are running out of time.
Okay.
I want to give you the opportunity to plug in your socials, your website, anything you want to plug in.
Yeah. Socials at Gaius George. You can hit me on my photography website, www.gaiusgeorge.com. That's my photography website, portfolio website. You can hit me on the Voiceover portfolio website at GaiusVoiceArt.com. And you can find me just about, you get to the photography website or the Voiceover website, you'll be able to find all of my social media and other things out there.
Cool. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule.
And thanks for having me.
Driving up from Dallas. That's amazing. I'm sure you're busy. I appreciate that.
No, I definitely got to come support my people. Yeah. So, this was an opportunity for me to do something different. Something I ain't, like I said, I haven't experienced. So here I am.
There we go.
Yeah.
And you're a natural. You're like on the mic, natural. I'm about to get kicked off my own podcast.
I don't know about that. But,
all right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the super talented Gaius George on the Maverick Podcast. Do you remember what I told you what I always close out with or no?
No, I forgot it.
In dreams, we trust. Let me hear you that in that voiceover.
In dreams, we trust.